The White House is signaling a shift. The Trump administration is prepared to provide Ukraine with binding security guarantees modeled on NATO's Article 5. A senior U.S. official confirmed this to Axios. According to the official, the deal is expected to go before Congress, with Washington making clear it is not a blank check, but a serious and meaningful security commitment.
We want to give the Ukrainians a security guarantee that will not be a blank check on the one hand, but will be strong enough on the other hand. We are willing to send it to Congress to vote on it, the U.S. official said.
The negotiation process is expected to include 3 separate agreements on peace, security guarantees and post-war reconstruction, with recent rounds, according to U.S. official, giving Ukraine its first clear vision of that day after the war. U.S. officials also say talks on economic recovery are moving in a positive direction, with the current proposal envisioning Ukraine retaining sovereignty over about 80% of its territory, receiving the strongest security guarantees in history, and securing a large-scale economic support package. At the same time, several European leaders have advised President Volodymyr Zelensky not to rush into an agreement, especially if it involves territorial concessions, while it remains unclear whether Russia would accept the US proposals. Meanwhile, negotiations aimed at ending Russia's war against Ukraine continue. The Wall Street Journal reports that US President's special envoy Steve Witkoff is set to meet European leaders and President Zelensky in Berlin, a meeting seen as crucial following the White House push to achieve peace. Sources familiar with the matter say the decision to send Steve Witkoff, who has been leading talks with Ukraine and Russia on the US peace proposal, reflects a stepped-up US effort to bridge gaps between Kyiv and Washington. On Sunday and Monday, Witkoff is also expected to hold separate meetings with officials from France, the United Kingdom and Germany. The Berlin meeting is set to bring together French President Emmanuel Macron, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, German Chancellor Friedrich Merz, along with senior advisors on Ukraine. Meanwhile, US President Donald Trump has made another statement on a potential peace deal, saying that despite the complexity, an agreement on Ukraine could work. Trump told reporters that progress is being made and that many people want to see how the plan would unfold. However, when asked how a proposed free economic zone would function in Donbas and other territories seized by Russia, the president did not provide a clear answer.
Can you tell us how this free economic zone would work in the Donbas in land that the Russians took by force?
Well, I don't want to do that now. It's a very complex situation, but it would work, and a lot of people want to see it work. And all I want to do is I want to stop the death of 25,000 people a month.
Russia's oil and gas revenues are expected to fall a 5-year low in December, according to Reuters. Russia's oil and gas revenues in December 2025 are expected to nearly halve, falling to their lowest level since 2020, driven by weaker oil prices and stronger ruble. According to Reuters estimates, revenues could total around 410 billion rubles, below the Russian Finance Ministry's forecast. The decline comes as global oil prices fall and the value of Russian crude drops in ruble terms, while government spending continues to rise due to the war against Ukraine. For the full year 2025, Russia's oil and gas revenues are projected at about 8.44 trillion rubles, nearly 25% less than last year and below the Finance Ministry's revised October forecast. Earlier this year, Moscow had expected significantly higher revenues, close to 11 trillion rubles, but was forced to downgrade its outlook following concerns of a global oil supply glut. Russia last recorded similarly low monthly oil and gas revenues in August 2020 during the COVID-19 pandemic, with the oil and gas accounting for roughly a quarter of federal budget revenues. The current downturn is particularly painful for the Kremlin as military and security spending continues to rise. 210 billion euros in Russian assets will remain frozen until reparations are paid to Ukraine, according to the EU's High Representative for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy, Kaja Kallas. She said the European Union has decided to freeze Russia's assets.
The EU just decided to indefinitely immobilize Russian assets. This ensures that up to 210 billion euros in Russian funds stay on EU soil, unless Russia fully pays reparations to Ukraine for the damage it has caused. We keep increasing the pressure on Russia until it takes negotiations seriously. Next week's European Council will be crucial to secure Ukraine's financial needs for the coming years.
Later, the EU ambassador to Ukraine, Katerina Maternova, said the EU's decision ensures that Russia will have no access to its frozen central bank assets in Europe, not even through the back door. She explained that the European Union has blocked any transfer of these funds back to Russia and stressed that while the measures are temporary, they will remain in place as long as Russia continues its aggressive war and poses a threat to Europe's security.
The European Union has blocked any transfer of these funds back to Russia. The reason is simple and fair. If Moscow regained access to this money, it would be used directly to finance Russia's war of aggression against Ukraine. For Russia, this is bad news. Less money for war, fewer options to bypass sanctions, and less capacity to exert pressure on Europe through hybrid attacks and economic coercion. For Europe, for Ukraine, for Russia, this is a clear message that aggression has a price, and Russia will pay it. Funds that could otherwise fuel destruction remain blocked.
Meanwhile, Politico reports that the European Union remains divided over support for Kyiv. 4 countries are blocking a plan to use Russia's frozen assets to fund a reparations loan for Ukraine, with Italy now joining them. Rome's stance is outlined in an internal document obtained by Politica, which notes that it could complicate reaching a political agreement at next week's EU summit. The move is backed by Malta and Bulgaria. Italy's intervention as the EU's third most populous member state comes less than a week before the European Council meeting on December 18-19, where the European Commission is pushing for a decision on using Russian frozen reserves held in Belgium's Euroclear to support Ukraine's war-torn economy. Belgium had previously expressed concern that it could be liable for the full amount if Russia made legal claims. Initially, Brussels had few allies, but Italy's support has shifted the diplomatic balance within the EU. According to the document, Italy, together with Belgium, Malta and Bulgaria, has urged the European Commission and Council to explore alternative ways to finance Ukraine that comply with the EU and international law and carry lower legal and financial risks. Potential options include issuing joint EU debt or using temporary credit instruments. North Korean leader Kim Jong Un has for the first time publicly acknowledged losses among North Korean troops involved in demining operations in Russia's Kursk region, saying 9 soldiers were killed, according to Reuters. Kim Jong Un attended a welcome ceremony for an army engineering unit returning home after completing missions in Russia. Footage released by North Korea shows uniformed troops stepping off a plane, with leader Kim Jong Un greeting a soldier in a wheelchair and welcoming other troops and officials. Reports say the unit was sent to Russia's Kursk region in early August to carry out combat and engineering missions, including demining operations where North Korean forces have played a significant role. Under a mutual defense agreement, North Korea sent around 14,000 troops last year to support Russian forces in the region. According to the South Korean, Ukrainian and Western sources, more than 6,000 of them were killed. That's all for today. Thank you for watching and don't forget to subscribe to our channel and leave your comments below.